Hey everyone, it is Thursday, December 1st, 2016, and it's time to go to work on music. Happy to have a fresh month here, clean slate, and it's time to make hay while the sun shines. Today is going to be a drum day. We're going to work through some online classes, and then we're going to finish all the original songs for this set, sketch out a couple cover tunes, and then we're done. So here we go. All right, finished up that Steve Vai interview. Um, Definitely some powerful stuff in there. I posted it on Twitter. It's well worth checking out. If you're watching this in the future, December 1st, 2016, Twitter post. And man, there's way too much in that interview to, to really summarize. But some of the big points he was mentioning at the end are about not really worrying about whatever particular decision you make, especially musically, but more about how you align yourself with your decision, which is like really deep if you think about it. Um, like basically what he meant is like it doesn't matter if you decide to go to school or decide to just start a band and try to make it that way. He's talking about how like whatever you decide, just get excited about it, be open to it, be positive about it, enjoy the process, and really put your energy into that decision because the other decision's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. Like to ask yourself, oh, what if I had done this or what if I had gone that route, is a total waste of time, and it's just your mind taking a big fat dump all over you. um, so that was like I think one of the most powerful takeaways for me. The other thing he was talking about was just listening and really being open when you're listening, not only to other people but also to yourself while you're playing, not judging or being like, oh, that's good, that's bad, or I like that, or that's correct, or that's wrong, but really just hearing it and saying like, I'd like it to sound this way, and or I'm not a big fan of that, stuff like that. That part was a little bit unclear at that point, but basically he said recording yourself is a really good idea and listening back is a good idea, which is something I've been doing a lot of recently via the vlogs. It's a big part of why I'm doing this. And it's nice for me to review the raw footage and just listen back to my practice session because it's a totally different point of view than what you're thinking about when you're actually performing it and playing it. And it's been really powerful for me. Highly recommend it. So, gonna get into some classwork quickly. Here we go. Okay, definitely some time well spent doing some extra Soundgarden research. I just read through the whole Wikipedia article on Soundgarden. Pretty awesome story. And you just realize what an iconic band they are and just what they were able to accomplish. And you go back and listen to the music, you appreciate it even more. How adventurous it was, but at the same time, how well produced and strategic the sounds are and the songwriting is, like from a production standpoint. I mean, they really hit it home on the like sort of smashing the gap between uh, artistic innovation and commercial success. You know that they are one of those bands who did that exceptionally well, and they're remembered as such as they ought to be. So what I found actually is I was just doing some looking into the production because I was listening back to a couple songs from Super Unknown and I was like, man, these songs sound good. And I was like, who produced this? It's like Rick Rubin level of intensity and sonic awesomeness. And I found that it's this guy. Oh man, I'm not even gonna remember his name. That's bad. Um, he played on Rocket, the Herbie Hancock hit. Michael Beinhorn. And it's so funny how these people who have made these huge impacts on popular music and just music in general are like overshadowed by these stars. I mean, it's just It's crazy. So shout out to Michael Beinhorn. But turns out he actually made some recording innovations as far as technology goes, capturing a broader frequency spectrum, and he also appears to maintain a relatively up-to-date blog. I was looking at the last or most recent entry, which is from 2015, so it's only a year old. Um, but yeah, it's called How to Save Popular Music. It looks like he has some pretty awesome articles here. So I'm looking forward to diving into this resource, and man, the internet is vast. The internet is vast. If you have the time and the energy to follow all the links all the way down the rabbit hole, good luck. But it's awesome. I mean, as artists, we've never had such incredible access to information to grow and learn and enrich ourselves as creative people, as professionals, as business people, as human beings. I mean, it's just, it really truly is an incredible time to be alive. I mean, think about it, even me, just recording this on a camera that's smaller than my fist, in HD quality, it's, I mean, 20 years ago, or 10 years ago even, to do something like this seemed preposterous. It was this is the closest that we've got to you guys being here with me, and who knows what's going to happen in another 10 years. Maybe it's going to be holographic. Maybe we'll have a platform like YouTube or the equivalent that allows you to just teleport into my room and be here in 2016 as if it were today. That's not that unimaginable all of a sudden. So anyway, not to get too macro, but it's worth appreciating, and it's fun. It's exciting. It's fun to appreciate it. And quick note: there's been a research study done recently that shows that being grateful for stuff can decrease your stress hormones in your body by up to 20%. And we're talking like 3 minutes a day of just like thinking about stuff you're happy about. So it's a worthwhile exercise, and there's certainly plenty of negativity to deal with internally. But anyway, on that note, I'm going to move away from the computer stuff today and do some drum work, and then knock out this track and call it a night. Here we go. Alright, really good drum practice, feeling good. Took a break, and now it's time to knock this track out. Let's do it. Alright, end of an excellent session for sure. Really happy to be back on track today after a rough start to the week for sure, but in a really good place. Finished the overall sketch of that song, which, probably ought to have been done days ago, but better late than never. And that frees me up to do some review on that tomorrow, some review on some of the other songs, and then also sketch out the cover tune. So, yeah, I mean, really great energy today. I really think you guys ought to watch that Steve Vai interview I was talking about earlier in the video. I posted it on Twitter today. You can search the date, find the link. And he talks about how really where, technique, scales, knowledge, all that stuff is extraordinarily valuable. And if the value of that stuff isn't obvious to you, then maybe you don't need it. But if the value of that stuff is obvious to you, then yeah, just put in the time and learn it. But do it in a way that excites you. Keep in mind that every new thing you learn about music or about your instrument or about composition or songwriting makes you better. I mean, just 5 seconds on a 5 second web search could make you a better musician for the rest of your life. So we're talking about a 1 minute investment for billions of minutes. I don't know if that's mathematically accurate, but lots and lots of minutes of payoff. So one thing that he mentions in the interview is how you want to really start to become aware and notice the voice in your head that immediately comes in when you get inspired. And he gives an exercise where he says, look, just sit down somewhere and think about something awesome that you'd really like to do, whether it be musically or life or anything like that. And he says, as soon as you do that, just notice the voice that comes up and says, you can't do that. You don't have enough money. You don't have enough time. You don't have the skills. You don't have the discipline. You don't know the right people, whatever, that kind of stuff that cuts at the root. That's what he uses. That phrase was just stuck in my mind. It cuts at the root of your inspiration, the thing that really makes you you. You're really your truest voice creatively. And he says it in such a great way. He says, if you get good at recognizing that voice, that helps so much free your creativity, because when you're noticing that voice, that means that voice isn't you anymore. And you're kind of there like, boom, you know. But I was just harnessing some of the energy of that idea today and just letting my inspiration take me somewhere, along with some of the other things he mentions in the interview. And man, there's nothing like sitting down and learning from the masters, guys. They just, I think it's one of the highest leverage activities you can possibly do. Call them mentors, call them gurus, call them masters, call them whatever you want, but these are the people who are out there doing what you want to do. And they're the ones who can say, well, actually everyone's telling you to do this, but really what matters is X, Y, and Z. And if you just do X, Y, and Z, you're golden. I mean, that makes all the difference in the world, having the right map to success. Imagine trying to find somewhere you've never been in Chicago with a map of Detroit. Ultimate frustration, right? As soon as you get the right map, you're like, oh, so easy. I just walk from point A to point B. So really trying to remind myself of that today, take the stress and the strife out of the journey and just enjoy it. Just really enjoy the process. We make so many sacrifices to be able to do this stuff, but at the end of the day, it's really not a sacrifice, because if we really would be rather doing those things, we should just go do those things. So now that I think about it, it's really not a sacrifice to be in the lab all day, just doing my thing and just trying to kill it as hard as possible, because if I'm out there in the world doing something else, I'd just be thinking about doing this. So here I am. On that note, guys, have an awesome Thursday night. Keep grinding towards your goals and vision, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.